going to go ahead and kick things off here, and we may have a couple other people joining a couple of minutes late here. But so our focus today, really want to talk about security working from home, and really we're looking to focus on something that's a little bit of a change of pace from our normal topics. We typically have something that's very focused at security leadership and so on, but in this case, we really wanted to do a presentation that was more focused at general users and those that are out there. So just to give you a little bit of introduction in terms of who I am, who we are, and so forth. My name is Ben Dimmick. I am the Director of Security Implementation Services over here. I've been with Tevora since 2012 now, and essentially my role, I focus very heavily on our implementation functions, and I also get a lot of chances to interact with customers as well as our various partners that are out there to get a feel for what the overall trends are that are emerging within the cybersecurity space. So Tevora overall, though, we are a cybersecurity consulting company. We focus very heavily on doing a lot of different services for our clients, and really everything we do is centered around cybersecurity in one way or another. So we do a lot of compliance work, as well as we do a lot of penetration testing. Again, I lead up our team that focuses heavily on our implementation services. But if you work in security, there's a good chance you've run across us at your offices previously. Also, keep things a little bit high level. We've worked in a lot of different spaces. We are focused in serving our community, and really that's been a big focus for this webinar overall. We wanted to make sure we were giving something back to make sense for our clients as well as their end users. So just to dive into what we're focusing on today, I wanted to first stop and just talk a little bit real quick about what's been happening in terms of the current situation, COVID-19, and so on. Then we're going to dive directly into some of the direct suggestions that we have around staying safe while you're working from home, and then we're going to have a quick knowledge check. This is going to be a quiz you can run through to make sure that you're understanding everything we're talking about, and then we'll take a minute to address questions at the end from there. The biggest thing is that the world is changing pretty significantly, and we're really seeing that overall a lot of other things are shifting similarly. We saw that there was a lot of companies that simply weren't prepared for what was happening here, and not to say that attackers were more prepared than the companies were, but I don't know that anyone necessarily anticipated we would have this level of focus on working from home at this point. So there's still a few things that people are recovering from overall, and really what I wanted to take a look at first was some of the things we're starting to see, some of the various behaviors out there that are necessitating some shifts overall. Frankly, we're seeing some rather creative ways people are attacking others these days. We've seen, for instance, threats to infect someone with COVID-19. So, for instance, people being contacted by others saying that they have been infected and that they will come and intentionally cough on someone unless they respond to a certain demand that the miscreant is presenting. So we're starting to see some pretty unique approaches to really trying to attack and threaten people out there. Another thing that has been, I'd say, kind of a surprise overall is that the number of sextortion incidents has been on the rise. If you're not familiar with sextortion, the concept behind it is that someone contacts a victim, they threaten to release certain information, which may be true or incorrect or anything of the above, and if the victim wants to avoid that, then they require certain things from them. So, for instance, it may be payment, it may be additional details, and so on. This may be, for instance, someone obtains illicit photos of someone, or in a lot of cases, it's just a threat to do things like notify your spouse about infidelity, which again may or may not be true, and it may not even be a matter of the attacker actually has information to suggest that. It may just be an attempt to get someone to think that they do anyways. So the FBI has been reporting that there's this is on the rise. There's a link down there with a little bit more detail, but this is something that they've been noticing a lot more and are trying to warn people about so they can stay safe. One simple suggestion we've been offering along these lines is, as silly as it sounds, avoid working in such a way that you would be unhappy if others saw you. So, for instance, probably don't want to work naked. The idea behind this is that there's been a lot of people that have been lowering their guard a little bit. So it's possible that if your webcam was turned on for some reason, would you necessarily be happy with the results of what came out? So anyways, that has been something that's been on the rise. It seems like one of the things that's come up, and you'll see this with some of our other patterns as well, is that a lot of the miscreants, the scammers, and so on, some of them may be out of work as well. They're looking for ways to try to bolster their income. And so ultimately what's been happening is that the attacks are on the rise. A lot of them are, again, traditional stuff. Some of them are kind of new. We've not really a big surprise, but we've seen a lot of email scams about COVID-19. One of the biggest challenges here is that a lot of companies kind of rush to get some messaging out, and that's kind of become a joke online that every company wants to tell you about what they're doing to respond to COVID-19. But one of the challenges around this is that it has become a little bit more difficult to quickly differentiate between the fakes and the real messages that are out there that might be interesting. So whether it's because of the fact that companies have had to quickly respond and they may not be quite as diligent or as careful with crafting their messages as they would be otherwise. But the biggest suggestion that we're offering here is to be real careful when you're looking at emails, to look for things that don't look right, and use an overabundance of caution for anything that does come in, especially as it's related to COVID-19. Another thing that's starting to come up a lot more, the level of mobile malware out there has been on the rise. So this is something that a lot more people are focused on, a lot more people are developing. And again, there's been a lot more people that apparently just have more time to focus on generating these types of things. So definitely something to be on the lookout for. I think another factor to this as well is that there's just more mobile usage now than there was previously. With more people at home, whether they're out of work or what have you, they've simply have there's been more usage of mobile devices as a result. So a couple of direct suggestions that we're offering now that maybe aren't specific to world events. We really wanted to provide a few additional details around working from home. And just to be clear, these aren't necessarily suggestions that are in place of standard security awareness training for users. So for instance, we're not going to be diving into things like use strong passwords and so on. That should be stuff that's coming out of your normal training. These are more bullet points that are specific to working from home and the environment that you might be in there. So first one is to ensure that you're continuing to follow standard security practices. So for instance, stuff like locking your computer when you walk away from it. This is, most people probably don't have too much of a risk of, for instance, a family member walking over and taking control of their computer or doing something malicious and that sort of thing. You might be in that type of environment, but most people, that's probably not too much of a risk. But things like locking your computer are a good thing to keep in mind, because a lot of attackers, once they have control of a computer, they will wait to begin directly controlling things like the mouse and that sort of thing until someone has walked away from the computer. So if you're locking that computer, then they won't necessarily have an opportunity to begin making those types of changes right away. So continue to follow all the normal security stuff that you typically do, with a couple of added things here is what we're really getting at with this point. The second one is that avoid mixing your personal PC with your with business use. And there's some companies that out there that are telling their users that they need to use their personal computers. Understood. This is obvious. All of these, of course, are capable of being superseded by your own organizational directions. So just keep that in mind. But the challenge here is that when we begin using our personal assets for work functions, there's a lot of opportunity to mix in corporate data with your personal computer and so on. And If there is an issue that's related to that computer, then that can ultimately help to compromise the enterprise security overall. So again, we're recommending whenever possible, avoid using personal PCs for business uses. It just opens up a lot of opportunities for the company to be attacked that they might not have otherwise. Along those same lines, don't mix up your personal or business files or accounts. One of the challenges to it is that a data breach where, for instance, customers have to get notified that there has been a breach and that sort of thing. In some cases, that can be classified by something as simple as someone lost a file, or we accidentally emailed this file out to the wrong person, that sort of thing. So avoiding mixing up those personal accounts can help to avoid those types of issues. You don't want to have, for instance, corporate files mixed in with your personal files on your personal computer, flash drive, that sort of thing. One other item we're suggesting is to take an inventory of business assets. So a lot of companies are sending employees home with equipment, be it monitors, laptops, that sort of thing. Make sure to keep an inventory of what type of assets you happen to have from the company, so that it's quick and easy for you to ensure that those haven't been lost along the way, and that those are all returned when the right time comes. Again, if for instance you have a flash drive that you took, and that flash drive becomes lost, that may have to be something that the company constitutes as a data breach, which could be pretty damaging to the company overall. Make sure that you know what the official company communication methods are, and this really applies to a couple of different components. The first one is, for instance, know how your company will contact you. Previously, for instance, you may have gotten calls from the help desk to your desk phone. That's obviously not an option now. So if someone does call your cell phone, for instance, what would be the method to ensure that they actually are calling from the help desk? How would you go about validating that? So find what the company direction has given in terms of how you should be getting communicated. And the other method as well is look at what the options are for inbound communication. So if you needed to contact someone at the help desk, what would be your process for going through and doing that? So just ensuring that you know what all the official communication channels are. That's a pretty crucial component here, as well as how to validate that the stuff you're receiving is actually who you think it is. Ensure that your other systems within your home environment are protected. The goal here is, for instance, if someone has already compromised your home computer, they may attempt to then attack your business laptop from that particular computer. It's not uncommon for attackers to try to use one system to attack others that are within the same vicinity. So trying to ensure that your existing system, for instance, has proper malware protection, ensuring that you have you're applying all of your system patches, software patches, all that sort of thing, is pretty key to keeping your work life safe and protected as a result. One more idea is to ensure that you have a private place for handling phone calls. This is something that's come up, and there are different companies have different ways of responding to it overall. But one of the biggest things is just, for instance, especially when you live in an apartment building or something, ensuring that you're in an environment where you can take calls and without other people overhearing. This may be more important for some than for others, but it's definitely something that's worth considering and looking into. And then one final suggestion here: ensure that you're following corporate data backup practices. So, for instance, ensuring that we're properly sending all of our data to the right places, making sure that we're not backing it up to the wrong repositories, or even just making sure we're not becoming lax on backing up the data that we have. As with everything else on here, make sure that you're following your corporate guidelines and the specific direction that your organization gives you. But otherwise, these are some of the specific things that need to be considered for working from home. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Matt Mosley. He's going to be doing a quick knowledge check for us. Just a quick quiz on Kahoot.it. If you'd like to join, go ahead and jump on there, and we'll be proceeding on from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben. Let's see. All right. So if you want to go ahead and join the game here, please go to kahoot.it, and then you'll be prompted with a game pen. And so you can do this in your browser, or if you want to download the mobile app, all work just fine. So we have about 12 questions, take about 5 minutes maybe. All right, let's get started. True or false, the longer the password, the better, even if it's only numbers. Ooh, Nick takes the lead. What is the best way to protect your accounts? So the key here is, what's the best way? The key to account security. Account security is very important. Oftentimes, just having a long password is not enough. It is important to make it complex with symbols, letters, and numbers, and most important, enable two-factor whenever possible. So we definitely highly recommend always enabling two-factor or multi-factor whenever you have the ability to. Significantly enhances your security posture. How strong is your password really? Is it something simple like your pet's name? What happens when your password gets compromised? Do you have to rename your pet? If you get an email from the CEO asking to call him for help with a special task, what do you do? What happened to Nick? What should you do when you step away from your computer? Turn off the monitor? Definitely. The computer will lock itself after a few minutes. I think Ben said to lock your PC or log out. How do you lock your computer? This one you have to type on your little mobile app or on the browser. What is a VPN? Something my IT showed me. A safe way to connect to the company's systems and antivirus program, or I have no idea. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. When should you use a VPN? All the time, at the office, not really necessary, at home or in public spaces. Ooh, Nick's coming up. He may just take the win. No, I'm gonna read that. If you suspect your computer is infected with malware, what should you do? Burn it. Just burn it. Immediately unplug your computer, turn it off, restart Windows, leave the PC, and immediately report it to IT. Open a regular ticket with IT. Did this training help you learn anything new? You can just fly, please. All right, let's see who wins. Jumpman taking third, Nick taking silver. And Mark takes gold. Nice work, everyone. And that is it. Ben, do you have anything to add?
Just a couple of quick things real fast. Let me go ahead and make myself the presenter again real quick, and then we'll just wrap things up here. Okay, great. So just wanted to take a quick stop real fast, see if there's any questions out there. Okay, great. Looks like we don't have any at the moment. So yeah, just one final thing here. We have a couple of other webinars coming up soon. We have one on May 12th around business continuity planning and disaster recovery. Another one on the 19th around HIPAA for those in the healthcare industry that have to deal with healthcare data. On the 20th, improving cloud security by implementing full stack security observability. June 22nd around data mapping, so how data is how privacy data is controlled, so on. June 16th, Cloud ID management for Azure, and then on June 30th, ISO. So ISO 27001 and so on and so forth. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for attending. And if anybody has any other follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to any of us here at Tevora, or else my email address is there. Have a good one.